Hello everybody, welcome to today's class. This lesson is going to be about something called generative AI. And generative AI is about making images and audio and video using artificial intelligence. We're going to look at a few different programs. We're going to look at some image generators, Dall-E and Midjourney. We're going to look at a voice generator and voice cloner called ElevenLabs. And we're going to look at what's possible with AI, with video as well. And I'm Chris Rimbolt, and this class is created for homeschoolers, grades 7 to 12, but anyone who wants to learn about artificial intelligence is welcome to join us today. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. All right, so this is Dall-E. It is named after Salvador Dali and Wall-E the robot. It's a combination of those two words. And it's by OpenAI, the same company that makes ChatGPT. And these are some examples of images that have been generated with Dall-E. It is a image generating generative AI. So there are a few things you can do with Dall-E. We're going to look at just prompting it. A prompt on a generative AI or on an LLM, a large language model, is just what you type into the input box here. So we're going to give it a prompt, and we're just going to give it something simple. So we're going to say, how about we're going to do a wizard, something very simple. And by the way, prompting, it's often a good idea to have like some detail in your prompt. We're just going to see what it will do when we type in something simple like this. So these are the images. They're a little weird, in my opinion, but we can now start to add detail to our prompt here and see what kind of a difference, it makes. So we're going to say one thing that that image generators like this, by the way, seem to be pretty good at is imitating art styles. So we'll see how good it is at imitating Van Gogh. So we'll say a wizard in the style of Van Gogh and see what we get. Here's another example here on the loading screen. Vaporwave, that is a style of art, and it has that traditional look there. I think it did not very good here. These don't look very much like Van Gogh. I'm going to actually show you another image generator called Midjourney, but I wanted you to see Dall-E first, just to kind of see where the state of the art was probably towards the end of 2022. This was probably the best thing you could get. But in my opinion, it's not the best AI image generator. For that, we need to go to Midjourney. And Midjourney is a bot, and it's a bot that lives inside of Discord. So to ask it for images here, it needs to be prompted in a specific way, and you just talk to it through Discord, which is a platform for online communities. So we're going to go /imagine, and that is the way that you tell it that you want an image. And then we're going to say a wizard, just like we did with Dall-E. And we're going to see how Midjourney does for the same prompt. This is a team, I think, of like 11 people, but they have many millions of people in their Discord server using this image generator, and we get to watch it work. Now, the way a generative AI works is it will use like GPUs, which are a type of computer, to dream and to hallucinate and to literally just trip out on whatever you tell it, and it will look at all its training data that was tagged with wizard, and it will say, I'm just going to make something that looks kind of like what I've seen that's called a wizard. And here's what it looks like at 78%, and it's getting more and more developed here. And again, this is a very simple prompt. I'm going to show you how to do very specific prompts with Midjourney that get really crazy results. So it has a few different things here. There's different art styles. There's like this looks like maybe a World of Warcraft art here or something like that. And these look like different art styles as well. It didn't know where to go with it, so it kind of just was like, well, what's normally associated with a wizard? Now we're going to try in the style of Van Gogh. And we'll see what it makes of this command. I find that Midjourney is usually pretty good at imitating artist styles. And we'll see what we get back with that. But in the meantime, while it generates, I want to show you, I actually made a Midjourney guide here. And I want to show you the elements of a good prompt for Midjourney. You want a subject, so that's our wizard. Medium/style, that's in the style of Van Gogh. That's what we're generating now. And then we have like setting, that's like where it is, like if you want to have it set with a specific background. Format, lighting, tools, camera settings, if you're doing a photo generated thing. Techniques, like brush stroke types or photography techniques. Post-processing, things like Lightroom or Photoshop, and just things you don't want to include. So here's an example of an image I generated here with Batman in the style of the Dark Knight movies, so that's the style. Walking down rainy, busy Wall Street, that is the setting. Cinematic action scene still, that's the format. Overcast afternoon lighting, that's the lighting. Tools, there's the camera and film that I wanted to use. Techniques, I actually put in there for that motion blur, which we actually see a little bit of motion blur on his hands and his legs here. And professional color grading for the post-processing thing. And don't include, I put no cars. So it did a pretty good job with that. So that's the format of a good Midjourney prompt. And if you're like me, that's like quite a lot. That's pretty over the top as far as coming up with that for each image. So yes, you can do that. And yes, it can create some pretty great images. But I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to actually make GPT able to do this for you. So I'm just going to copy this. This is my prompt to train ChatGPT. There's 3 stages. You copy this prompt, you send it to ChatGPT, then you tell it to do something like make a portrait, and then it will get it wrong. And then we will prompt it one more time, and it will say, here's what's wrong about the way that you sent that prompt. And the way GPT works is if you tell it what it does wrong, it actually seems like it learns a lot better. So this is a 3-step prompt to teach ChatGPT how to create that 10-stage, it's like 10-stage Midjourney prompt, and all you do is describe in simple language what it is you want to ChatGPT. It'll make more sense when we go through it, so let's do it. Let's go to chat.openai.com to get to ChatGPT. I'm going to use 4 since I'm a Plus member, but 3.5 works for this as well. I'm going to paste our prompt in here. And then it will just like make something up. And then I'm going to say, so this is back in my guide here. Let's do a portrait. Let's do a portrait of an astronaut. And then now we just need to prep the 3rd stage of our prompt. So we're going to go in here and copy it. All right, so this will tell it exactly what we need. So look at this. Look at this prompt here. And it's even going to give us another one. Vintage pocket watch or the astronaut. So we're going to try this and see what it comes up with in Midjourney. Again, we asked for a portrait of the astronaut and it was like, it'd be cool if it was in hyper-realistic digital art. inside the International Space Station, digital artwork, soft glow of the lights, and there's the tool and the software and a few other things in there too. So we're gonna actually take this into Midjourney. And by the way, just for an example of what a wizard in the style of Van Gogh would look like, I think this is excellent. This is very, very much more realistic than what we were getting over here with Dall-E. It just didn't know what we were looking for or wasn't able to do it. This is phenomenal. I think it's quite beautiful, actually. But let's go ahead and paste in our prompt from ChatGPT. It just gave us this. This isn't what we're trying to do. We'll let it work on this. And I'm going to show you what you can now do with a trained ChatGPT. So we trained it on how to make a good Midjourney prompt, and then now we can just ask for something. So let's ask for pirate ship at sea after a storm. And let's see what it makes up for this here. Traditional maritime oil painting. That's awesome. That's very cool. And look, it says no other ships and no land in sight. So I'm just going to copy the no other ships because I don't really care if it has no land in sight. And created with bristle brushes. Huh, cool. Post-storm lighting with emerging sunlight. This is going to be a cool picture. And all we did was ask for a pirate ship at sea after a storm, and kind of we have this idea in our mind, and then it gives us all this. And if we want to, we can edit it a little bit to make it more close to what we're looking for. But that's pretty much exactly what I was looking for. Look how weird Midjourney went with this. It's like it wanted. I'm not sure what it thought we wanted, but this is nothing like the prompt. So once in a while you'll get a result like this that you're like, what? Where did it get that? So now I'm going to type /imagine, and then we're going to put in this pirate ship prompt that we got. And I'm also going to make it an aspect ratio of 16:9 to make it look more cinematic. You just do that by typing --AR and then the aspect ratio that you want. And it will work on this. But this is generative AI. You can use this for all kinds of things. Anything really that needs an image, your social media, or if you run a business, your marketing, or if you're writing a story, you can use it for illustrations, and you can do the illustrations in a specific style. It's really, really powerful. I use Midjourney a lot, and it is very useful for me. We're at 31% with this request here. It looks like there's a mix of different results, and it's looking pretty good so far. Let's wait for it to finish. And it looks like traditional maritime oil painting, it interpreted that as us maybe wanting a painting on a wall. So that is one of the options here in this bedroom. It looks like here that there's a painting on the wall. But let's see how it turns out at 100%. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I think this one's possibly the best. Although this one's kind of cool too. It's not really. There's not really a way to tell that there's a pirate ship. It would be more convincing if there was a Jolly Roger flag flying from the mast or something like that. But all of these images look pretty incredible. This is the state of the art here in May 2023, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you work at it, if you give it a few different tries, it will make something that you could actually probably print off and put on your wall. So if you want the full version, you just click upscale 3 is what this is. So 1, 2, 3. So we want to upscale the third one. And then it will just give us the full resolution of version number 3. And then we can save that image. Looks pretty good. All right, so that is image generation, current state of the art. Next, I want to, and by the way, key part of this, by the way, is training ChatGPT how to make prompts for us in Midjourney. So a good prompt has like, what was it, like 10 steps or so according to this guide that I made. And we just train ChatGPT. That's what we want, is just these 10 things when we describe an image, make a image description that gives us these 10 things. So very powerful, and we will come back to ChatGPT as an additional tool for our generative AI here in a minute with ElevenLabs. So let me grab my ElevenLabs tab and pull it over here. This is a voice generating generative AI. ElevenLabs is pretty incredible, and what's amazing about it is it can make, it doesn't always make, but it can make very convincing voice recordings. So let's go to history here. And just for an example, I'm going to pull up Steve Jobs here. This was a cloned voice that I created using a sample of Steve Jobs' voice and then using ChatGPT to write in the style of Steve Jobs here. So I'm gonna play it for you.
Hello, Chris. It's nice to meet you too. That's a great question. The key to finding an innovative niche in the AI market is to focus on the intersection of technology and liberal arts. We need to create products that connect with people on a deep emotional level, while leveraging the power of AI to make their lives better. Here are a few ideas I think could make a real impact. Personalized education.
So that's actually a pretty good representation of what Steve Jobs sounded like in the voice sample. Here's another one. This is Rob Inglis. He is the narrator of The Lord of the Rings, and I had ChatGPT write a passage here about the history of AI in the style of Lord of the Rings. So let's see what that sounds like.
Chapter 1. In the dawn of the age of AI. In a time long past when the world was younger and the stars shone more brightly in the night sky, there was an age of discovery, an age of wonder, a time when the works of mortals reached for the lofty heights of the celestial firmament.
So what's crazy about this is that it only took a few seconds to make. I cloned the voice with a short 5-minute sample and then had ChatGPT create the text for it in a few seconds, and then pasted that into ElevenLabs, and it was able to generate this very, 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 very rapidly in much shorter time than it actually takes to read the text out loud. So generative AI is really quick and most of the time, and ElevenLabs is no different. So let's now go and show you how to clone a voice. What you really need is a voice file. So if you want to clone your own voice, what I did is I just went into the closet and recorded a voice with my phone and just used the voice recording app. And the reason I went into the closet is because there's a lot of clothes hanging in there, and it really deadens the reverb of the room, because your voice sample, the way it's recorded, is the way it's going to sound. So if there's a lot of echo in your environment, then that's going to bleed through into your voice generated as well. So let's see. Let me grab a. So I accidentally recorded the Steve Jobs clip here in my own voice. Let's see what that sounds like. And this will just give you an idea of how close you can get this to sound to your own voice.
Hello, Chris. It's nice to meet you too. That's a great question. The key to finding an innovative niche in the AI market is to focus on the intersection of technology and liberal arts. We need to create products that connect with.
It's pretty close to me. One thing that ElevenLabs is not great at yet is accents. So even though I don't have a super strong accent, it still sounds fairly processed. So let me show you what I did to grab a sample of Winston Churchill and how you can use that to clone. So I went to archive.org, which has lots of old speeches on it, and I just did a search for Winston Churchill, and then you can narrow it down by type, which we want audio, so we're going to click on audio here on the left side. And we'll just grab this here. I think this has several, this has several examples of, this has several samples in it. And what we'll do is we'll look for one that's about 5 minutes long, because you really only need about a 5-minute sample for it to work. So we're going to click on this.
Mr. Speaker, on Friday evening last, I received His Majesty's commission to form a new administration.
So that one should work. So to grab this file, we actually have to download it, and the best way to do it that I have found from archive.org is we just look at the name, so new administration, and then we remember that, and then we right click and do view page source. What we want to look for is the MP3 in this code. This is the website code here, and what we're going to do is hit Command F, and then we're just going to type in administration. And you see how we're getting results here. We'll keep clicking until we get one that looks like a file. So this one here, this looks like a file here. There's .ogg and there's .mp3, and we want the MP3 version. So if we click this, it will take us to the page with just the actual file. And now here we are. Click the 3 dots, we click download, and now that's in our Finder. Do show in Finder, or the equivalent on Mac or on Windows. Here it is in our downloads. And what I'm going to do is go back to ElevenLabs, do Voice Lab, and now we're going to clone this voice. And by the way, this is super easy to do. There are people that do this to try to scam people, so just know that this is an increasingly common scam, that somebody tries to clone your voice or the voice of somebody that you listen to, and then type whatever they want into it and give you a phone call with that voice on the line. And just don't fall for it. It's going to be common. So we're going to click Add Voice, Instant Voice Cloning. And by the way, don't clone any voices of people that it would be unethical to clone, or don't use the voice of somebody to make a product like that you're going to sell or distribute, because that's just not cool. Make sure that you're doing this ethically. So we're going to name this, I have actually a couple Winston Churchills in here, so we're going to name it Winston Churchill V3. And now we say we confirm, and we have to click Add Voice. It will not take it long to do this. This is actually super quick how it can clone things. And there it is, right there, Winston Churchill V3. And you only need about a 5-minute sample for it to work, but you can add additional samples. But we're not going to do that right now. We're going to go to speech synthesis, and what we're going to do is we are going to choose our clone voice, clone Winston Churchill V3. Going to click the voice settings. We're going to make it more variable a little bit, which that means that it can be more expressive. And it can be also unstable if you do it that way, but otherwise it sounds really monotone. We're going to make the similarity fairly high, and again, it can make it sound a little weird if you turn this up too much, but pretty variable. We want it more variable, and pretty similar is how I usually do it. But there's also a way to do multilingual too. There's ability to do other languages. We're just going to stick with the monolingual English language, but just know that there's other ways to do it. So let's go back to ChatGPT, and we're going to ask it for a, please provide a 30-second speech in the style of Winston Churchill about artificial intelligence. And it will generate it. And this is very much the kind of words that he used, so it sounds right. We're going to let it finish the speech, and then we're going to drop it into the ElevenLabs thing here. So not only did we clone his voice, but we also cloned his tone here, the kind of words that he used. So this is doubly cloned here. Now, let's see how it goes. This is really fast. Wait till you see how fast this is when I click generate. Well, it's normally fast.
Ladies and gentlemen, just as once we conquered the skies and transcended earthly bounds, today we stand on the brink of a new frontier, the realm of artificial intelligence. A realm that stirs in us, a blend of exhilaration and indeed a note of trepidation. But let us not cower before the face of the unknown, for it is in the unknown where progress resides.
As you can see, it does not have his accent. As I mentioned earlier, ElevenLabs doesn't really do accents. It just sounds kind of like the original recording. And the less of an accent the person has, like Steve Jobs doesn't really have an accent. And I don't have a super strong accent myself, but Winston Churchill does. And it really comes through that it's somebody else. So accents, they don't really play.
In our hands, AI can be a tool of immense potential, a conduit for innovation that could outstrip the grandest achievements of yesteryears. We shall harness it not for our destruction, but for our betterment, not to replace the human spirit, but to augment it. To falter now is to forsake the future we hold in our grasp. So let us march forth with resolute courage, exploring, inventing, persevering, for it is in our nature to conquer adversity and to prevail. Thank you.
That's pretty good, though. If you weren't trying to do Winston Churchill, that does sound like an old-timey recording of somebody making a speech. All right, so that was generative AI with voices with ElevenLabs. Now, I want to show you some stuff with videos. Video editing in particular is pretty good. They've done some pretty impressive stuff with it. Let's look at this one from Wonder Dynamics, which is a company that allows you to edit video and actually replace characters within it. So if you have a 3D model of whatever other character you want to use, you can actually just drop them in, and it will use the actor like as the puppet for the animated character that you drop in there. That's just one thing it can do, but it's pretty impressive. So this little robot guy is now doing what the actor did. It's amazing. And this works inside of your web browser. And there are teams in Hollywood and in streaming that are already using this. But the crazy thing is, people can use it. So imagine the cool movies you could make using this video editing tech and lots of different 3D models for different characters. But you can also use it to adjust lighting, adjust light angle, adjust camera angle. There's so many insane things you can do with it in after processing that used to take forever for building a scene. But that's pretty cool. That's video editing with generative AI, and that is from wonderdynamics.com. Now, as far as generating entire sequences with artificial intelligence, you may have seen the Will Smith eating spaghetti video, and if you have seen it, you definitely remember it. And if you haven't seen it, you should go look it up. It's pretty crazy. Somebody typed that in as a prompt. But this is one here for a fake pizza place, and it's all AI generated. The voice, the words that it uses, and crucially, the video. So this is some crazy stuff here.
Are you ready for best pizza of life? Bring friends down to Pepperoni Hug Spot. Our chefs make pizza with heart and special touch. Cheese, pepperoni, vegetable, and more secret things. Need delivery? Pizzas come fast. Knock, knock, who's there? Pizza magic. Eat pepperoni hug spot pizza. Your tummy say thank you. Your mouth say, Pepperoni hug spot. It's like family, but with more cheese.
Pretty ridiculous, right? Pretty crazy. So that is the state of the art with video right now. But the best thing I think in the AI world at the moment with generative AI is still ChatGPT. Again, it's generative. It's not images or audio or video, but it is text. So it is technically a generative model. And as we saw, it can really make ElevenLabs and Midjourney even better when you use it. So that is it for our generative AI lesson. I do have a homework project for you. So here's the assignment. I want you to write at least 2 paragraphs about a project that you would like to make with generative AI. And it needs to use at least 2 of the tools that we saw today. It needs to use at least 2 of them. And those tools, again, are Dall-E, which is the OpenAI image generator, the first one we looked at, Midjourney, the more powerful image generator, ElevenLabs, the voice generator, or ChatGPT, the text generator, or Wonder Dynamics, the generative video editor. So write a 2-paragraph piece, and it can be more than 2 paragraphs if you want, but that's a minimum of a project that you would like to do with at least 2 of those tools that we looked at today. And your writing should include what your goal is with this project. So what is it that you are trying to do with this project? Like, are you trying to make are you trying to entertain your audience? Are you trying to express yourself creatively? Are you trying to do something productively? Are you trying to do something for business? Are you trying to make a specific kind of art? Are you trying to invent something? What is it that is your goal with your project? But that is the lesson today on generative artificial intelligence. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Chris Rimbolt, and I will see you in the next unit.